All right, AP Stats, today we're going to connect confidence intervals to hypothesis testing. So essentially what we're going to do is find a connection between a 95% confidence interval and a 5% significance level, or something like a 99% confidence interval with a 1% significance level. This works for two-sided tests. Okay, so we got to have two-sided tests there. All right, so here's the test we're going to run. Is there evidence that the LHS average ACT is different from the Missouri average of 21.5? A sample of 20 LHS students had an average ACT score of 22.3 and a standard deviation of 1.4. Find that p-value. Okay, so to do that, we're going to find our z, which is x bar minus mu over s over root n. So this is going to be 22.3 minus 21.5 over 1.4 over the square root of 20. And that gives us 2.56. So if now we want to calculate the p-value, we're going to graph this. And we have 2.56 out here, and since it's a two-sided test, we have negative 2.56 out here. So we're going to have both of these areas we need to find. So of course we only need to find one of them and multiply it by 2. So you're going to use TCDF, lower bound of 2.56, upper bound of infinity, degrees of freedom 19. So when you type that into your calculator, you get 0.0096. So this area to the right is 0.0096. The area to the left is also 0.0096. So times 2, the p-value is 0.019. Okay, now we're going to find the 95 and the 99% confidence interval. So that's going to be x bar plus or minus t star times s over square root n. So we're going to find the 95% confidence interval first. Okay, so from your table you will get 2.093 for a 95% t interval with a degrees of freedom of 19, or n minus 1. And then here's your interval for 99%. Okay, so we will compare all of this in just a minute. So a two-sided significance test rejects the null hypothesis when the claim falls outside the interval. Okay, so if the claim is in the confidence interval, we're going to fail to reject. If it's not in the interval, we're going to reject. And let's see how that works for this specific problem. Okay, so here we had a p-value of 0.019. So we're going to fill in here. We had a p-value of 0.019. And we had a 95% confidence interval was 21.6 to 22.96. Okay, so our alternative is that mu is different from 21.5. So we're going to put our alternative as mu is not equal to 21.5. Okay, so are we going to reject or fail to reject at 5%? Our p-value here, 0.019, is less than 0.05, which means we are going to reject the null hypothesis at a 5% significance level. And you will see here that 21.5 does not fall in the interval. Okay, so 21.5 does not fall in our interval. And so we reject. So if you look up here, if the claim is not in the interval, we're going to reject the null. Okay, so the null here is that mu is 21.5. Okay, based on our p-value, do we think we're going to reject? We do not think it's 21.5. Based on our confidence level, confidence interval, we do not think it's 21.5. So both ways, we do not think it's 21.5. We think it is something different. So we're going to reject the null and conclude the alternative. Okay, so I need you to go ahead and change some things here on the second part. Sorry about that, but this should be, we are going to now look at 1%. So we're going to look at a 1% significance level versus a 99% confidence interval. Okay, so our 99% interval went from 21.4 to 23.2. So we're going to put 21.4 to 23.2. And again, our null is that it's equal to 21.5, and our alternative is that it is not equal to 21.5. So based on our p-value of 0.019 is greater than 0.01. Therefore, we will fail to reject. We cannot reject the null. We cannot say it's different. So we're going to fail to reject at a 1% significance level, which goes along with our 99% confidence interval. Our 99% confidence interval does include 21.5, so that could be the actual average, and therefore we cannot reject it. So again, if the claim is in the interval, I'm going to color code this here, if the claim is in the interval, first part where we saw 21.5 was in the interval, that was blue, we cannot reject. Okay? Then we also saw in the red that if the claim is not in the interval, we would fail to reject. I just said that wrong. If the claim is not in the interval, we would reject. That is the red. The 21.5 is not in the interval, so we don't think it's 21.5, so we can go ahead and reject that. In the blue, if the claim is in, then we fail to reject. So the claim is in the interval. The claim 21.5 is in the interval. Well, 95% confident this is our interval, or 99% confident this is our interval, so we cannot reject. Okay, so this is another example that you can look through and calculate these intervals yourselves and see how that works. And lastly, I want you to think through this multiple choice question and come up with an answer, and we'll talk about it in class tomorrow. Have a great day.